Here are a few questions I always ask my WWOOF hosts when I'm on a call with them. I'll always ask what a typical day is like on that specific farm. Knowing your schedule allows you to know how many hours a day you're going to work, how many breaks you get, and how many days off you're going to get as well. Every farm is very different and the schedules could be drastically different, so you want to make sure you know what you're getting into before you go there. Another thing for me that's very important to ask is what the living accommodations are. This is also something that can be drastically different from farm to farm. You could be staying in a caravan, or you can be staying in a room by yourself, or you could be staying in a room with 6 other people. My sleeping area is my safe space, so I always like to know where I'm sleeping before I go. Depending on your preference, you might want to ask if there's public transport nearby. A lot of people like to go explore cities on their day off, and sometimes you'll be so rural that that's not really an option. Sometimes hosts will be willing to drive you to a train station or to go pick you up at a bus stop, but that might not always be the case, so it's good to make sure. You might want to also ask how many other volunteers are at the farm. Sometimes there might be 1 and sometimes there might be 12. Though some people might love it, not everyone wants a bigger crowd. Or maybe that's exactly what you're looking for. It all depends on your preference. Another question that could be important is dietary preferences. Some farms will only eat vegan, while others may not be able to satisfy a vegan diet. So, depending on your dietary preferences, you always want to try to make sure they line up. I always like to ask the current projects that are going on and what you'll specifically be working on when you're there. If the current project that they're working on isn't something that you really want to do, maybe you don't want to go. Don't be afraid to ask the host about themselves. Why do they like hosting? How long have they been hosting for? What's their favorite thing about hosting? When it all comes down to it, do not be afraid to ask a lot of questions. Make sure that you are sold on this farm and you are 100% sure you want to go. One of the scariest parts about woofing and traveling in general is the fear of the unknown. So give yourself the opportunity to be prepared and know what you're going into. Be prepared, not scared. Trust your gut, you're always right. Happy woofing.